What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Rideshare Hub. My name is Greg Wave, for those of you who haven't figured out who I am yet. So today, I'm going to run you guys through some scams that have happened. And I will say that everything I say today has either happened to me or someone I know. So I'm not just rattling off just outlandish things. These are things that have happened and can happen. So I want you guys to be alert and aware and you know, feel comfortable in just about any scenario that's thrown at you. So number one, and I've hit on this before, is too many people. This is a scam because it screws you entirely. You could get in a lot of trouble. You could get a ticket. And I said this in a past video. Usually when people do this, it's because they're broke and they're too broke to tip. So it's just a waste of time. Take another ride. That one, I'm not even going to say any more of that. Number two, I've touched on this a little bit before, cash rides. I have personally gotten screwed by cash rides. I did them for a while, and then I had a cash ride where the guy bolted from my car. And so I wasted time and money and gas. And you will really lose out if you're giving a free ride, because you've got to look at it from the perspective of a ride you could have given, where you could have potentially gotten a tip, and where you didn't waste your gas because you made money. People will do this. They will offer to pay cash, but you've got to look at it this way. Why can they not just request you on a normal Uber Lyft ride? There's no reason. There's absolutely no reason. So don't let people do it to you. Number three, this is a really serious one, and this happened to a friend of mine. And I've done this before. Unfortunately, I just had a decent person who didn't screw me over, but in the past, I've had people who were like, hey, can I use your phone real quick? Mine died. I just need to text my roommate, or just a plethora of different reasons. And I'd let them. I never really cared. But the issue is you're not seeing what's going on, especially if they're in the back seat. You don't really know what they're doing on your phone. So this happened to someone I knew recently where they let someone do that, and that person actually Venmo'd themselves money. I started researching, and I saw a bunch of other stories online on forums where there were people that had the same thing happen. They were Venmoing money, they Cash Apped money. I don't know if anyone ever had the intricacy to go all the way through PayPal, but I'm sure it has happened. So just don't let people use their phone. I mean, unless it's like in the front seat and you got a stoplight, or maybe if you do, be like, yeah, but understand this has happened before, so I just want to pull over real quick just so I can, see what you're doing. If they don't understand that, whatever, just tell them to go use a payphone or something. Number four, this is an interesting one. So a lot of times someone will order an Uber or Lyft, and then they will call you, or during the ride, they will say that they actually work for Uber and Lyft and they want your driver info. Again, this should be pretty self-explanatory. Don't give it out. Uber and Lyft will never directly ask you for your contact info, all right, or your profile. The only time is if you're calling them and you're on their customer service line, then they might. But in any other scenario, they won't. So just be cautious with your information, because they're going to try and hack your account and instant cash out anything you've made or something else. Number five, I've hit on this a little bit before, but this is something that a lot of people have been telling me they've been experiencing more and more and more, so I want to touch on it again. But the mid-ride cancellations have become quite a problem. And basically, if you're a new driver, this might happen to you, or any driver, but you might not have experienced it yet if you're new, is that a lot of times people will request a ride, and then midway through the ride, they'll cancel it. And when it happened to me, it happened like right before I dropped them off, so I didn't actually see it. Now, like I said, in my scenario, I didn't care because it was very dumb on their part, because I actually made more money from the cancellation than I would have from the ride. So I didn't really care, but it was a short ride. So in a scenario like a longer ride, you'd actually get really screwed. So in these scenarios, the best thing you can do, guys, is you just got to report it to Lyft and Uber and let them deal with it. Unfortunately, there's really nothing you can do. So number six is, this is a tricky one on how to deal with it. And I think the best bet is going to be just reporting it. But a lot of times people will request a ride from you, and they get in the car, and then you're driving, and they'll be like, oh, can you actually take this route? and they take you some really weird route, and then at the end of the ride they report you to Uber and Lyft and say that the driver took a bad route, and then they'll get ride credits or refunded. So the best thing is try to have at least a good idea of the area you're driving in. You know, so if they're asking you to get on a highway that you know verbatim is like going the absolute wrong direction, just tell them, you know, I mean, I think you got to argue that, you know, because at that point you know something's going on. The best thing to do is, you know, and if they try to come up with, someone's done this to me where then they were like, oh no, I actually want to stop at a buddy's house. Tell them to add a stop. If you do run into a scenario where that happened and you got reported, and Lyft or Uber doesn't credit you for the ride or something, just get a hold of them, report it, and just say this is what happened, and you know they'll take care of you for sure. All right, and the last one is false reports. So this hasn't happened to me, but it has happened to people I know where they've had passengers that got in the car, and these are guys I know. They always have clean cars. It always smells good. And someone will say, oh, the driver, I smelled alcohol in his breath. His car smelled like weed. It was so dirty, I couldn't even stand being in there. And they'll basically make a false report based on usually smell. And then they'll report it. And you could actually get, you know, suspended technically, especially if they said it was like weed or alcohol they smelled on you. So you got to fight that. This is just a really tough one because you technically have no way of proving that they are right or wrong, and you have no way of really proving that you're not. So the best case scenario is again, you just got to email them in and be like, and notice some things that maybe they were doing, and let them know. Be like, hey, he was just like being really shady. Then all of a sudden he starts accusing me of something, and I'd like you guys to know, like, I've been a 5-star driver for 3 months. I've actually used that line specifically, and it's worked for me. Like when I was having an issue with a customer on Uber, I said, hey, you know, I've been an upstanding driver for how long now? No one's ever had a problem with me. All of a sudden, randomly, this person has a problem with me. I would ask you to look into some of their reports. Are they constantly making these reports? And if so, would you please take that into consideration? And that worked really well for me, so I would recommend using the same line, because they're going to cater to that. Now, if you're like a 4.2 driver, well, sorry, be a better driver. But yeah, guys, so just be really wary. You know, the best case scenario in all of these scam-like things is always going to be reporting it instantly. Don't wait. It looks bad if you wait. So report it instantly, you know, and be cautious. Just be on the lookout for it. I really don't feel like it happens all that often. Again, 2 or 3 years of driving for me, a ton of rides. And I've really only had probably 2 or 3 people that have like really tried to scam me. And it's just going to happen. It's a part of the job, and you just got to deal with it accordingly. So stay safe out there, guys. I hope you guys have a killer week. Be sure to like this video and subscribe. We've got a lot more content coming your way. And I hope you guys have a killer week.